Good evening, scholars, parents, staff, faculty, mentors. Thank you so much for jumping into my virtual presentation tonight. It's going to be another short one, only 12, 13, 14 minutes to get together to talk with you about my new book, Dollars for Scholars, which is now going out into the world. So excited. I'm going to reach back here and grab a copy of it so I have it handy with me. I think the thing I'm most excited about the book is the component of it that actually deals with something that's very important to me, and that is the idea of writing a winning scholarship essay. And there are other topics in the book about transitioning from high school senior to college freshman, and those are significant as well. But I think I had a former high school student many years ago say to me at the end of the year, "Man, Mr. Z, you could make a tree stump passionate about writing." And I don't know if all that's true, but I love putting pen to page and the fingers to the keyboard and creating a passage that can go out in the world and do something extraordinary. Like, for instance, just like in the last week of my life, I wrote an essay about something that I was very passionate about. And I thought, you know what, rather than just post it on my social media, I'll try and see if I can get it to a larger scale social media and see if they'll accept it and post it on their page so that more people can read it. And sure enough, they did. And literally, this essay that I wrote a few days ago has been shared like over 8,000 times. And I've had so many people reach out to me and contact me about this essay and how it's affected them. This is the power of the well-written essay. And yes, I want young people to write poems. And I want young people to write plays. And I want young people to write short stories. And I want young people to write novels. But the thing that really excites me about the idea of essay writing is as it pertains to one component of the scholarship process, and that is the scholarship essay or personal statement that often has to be attached to the scholarship packet. Real talk. I'm going to break down something that I actually lived this week. I have a lot of friends out there in the world who are doing great things, people that I look up to and I admire, people I'm connected with, not only on a professional level, but they're also dear friends of mine. And some of these people are deeply involved in some scholarship, process or scholarship application. In other words, they're on the committee, they're on the board, they're on the selection committee or the selection board that are going through and sifting through all these packets to find the applicants who are most deserving and narrow it down to the select few, and then of course narrow it down to the very few who will actually win the scholarships. One of my dear friends is involved in a very big scholarship that sort of goes out of its way to serve Latinx students in this country. And they told me, Joaquin, we have an essay component. It's not so much like one essay question where they write down from that theme, but a series of short, open-ended questions. And we give them about 1,200 to 1,500 words in terms of the box for them to write in to give us their answer for these 2 or 3 questions. And yeah, these 2 or 3 mini essays, it does take some time for the student to write, but we're hoping they'll put everything they have into it so we can get a good insight and look into that candidate as a scholar and as a human. And they told me they were just sort of taken aback by how many students, how many scholars who, when it came to the short essay questions where they had to answer 2 of the 3 in 1,000 to 1,500 words in these blocks that were provided for them, they wrote 1 sentence, some of them even just a few words, rather than an entire sort of well-crafted series of paragraphs that communicate something very important and very sincere and very passionate, that tells the scholarship committee, board member something about themselves as a person, something about themselves as a scholar. And this sort of broke my heart when I heard this. So if I can communicate anything to you all tonight, young scholars and also facilitators who are watching this, we have to make sure our young scholars are addressing these personal statement prompts, these scholarship essay prompts, and that they're doing an effective job of it. I mean, this person went on to tell me that, out of the dozens and dozens and dozens that they were assigned to read through, only a handful of those actually attempted to answer those questions in a series of 3 or 4 paragraphs, in an essay format, rather than just relying on a sentence or 2, or even just a few words. This is such an important part of the process. Last week, we had a mini session like this where we talked about the letter of recommendation and how important it is. And it's so important because this is someone outside of their world who's a part of your world giving them some insight into you as a scholar and as a human being. And that is so very important. But here's the thing: you don't have real control over what that facilitator, over what that mentor, over what that counselor, over what that associate principal, over what that teacher might write about you. And that's the powerful thing about the personal statement or the scholarship essay is you have total control. This is where you set yourself apart. This is where you take a chance. This is where you be daring. You know, you want that scholarship essay to be different, to be unique, to be daring, to be passionate, to be inspiring. You want that essay to be all the things that you are. All those things. You are extraordinary. You are daring. You are passionate. You are inquisitive. So shouldn't your scholarship essay or your personal statement be so as well? This is your chance to set yourself apart from other applicants. I've had this conversation with scholarship application boards for years. And the question I always ask them when I get a chance to speak to these people who decide who gets the money and who does not get the scholarship, the question I ask is, what is the one thing that puts the student over the top for you? What's the one thing where it makes you pull that application out and set it aside and say, that might be one of our winners right there? And every single person says the same thing. It's the scholarship essay or the personal statement that's attached. The reason they tell me this is because they say all of the applicants that apply deserve money and are good young people, and they're involved in their community, or they're involved in their campus, and they're trying to do the right things academically, and they're trying to give back to their community through volunteering. They're doing the right things. They're all such good young people and so deserving. And I know that's true because I've met so many amazing young people all over this country. And if there was a way for everyone to get money for college, the scholarship process, I would be all for that. But that's just not the world we live in. There are only limited scholarships for select students, and you want to make sure that you set yourself apart for others. So you have to make sure that, yes, you're doing all those things that I just mentioned, like being a solid student and attending class every day, and volunteering on your campus and volunteering in your community, even virtually volunteering now. But the thing that you really need to put some effort into is that scholarship essay. That's that personal statement that's attached. And we have a question from someone. How do you find inspiration to write? And do you ever come to writer's block? Young scholars, when you're writing, I want you to know that there are ways that you can actually search for inspiration. One of the things that I do to search for inspiration when I'm writing is to read. I actually pick up a book, not by me, by someone else, and I read. And I might find that in reading this novel or in reading this collection of short stories or reading these poems, that something happens. It triggers a memory. Oh, wait, something like that happened with me and my tío, my uncle. Or something like that happened with me and my tía, my aunt. Or something like that happened with me and my abuelo, my grandfather. And then I can sort of put that book away, grab pen, grab journal, and begin writing what might turn into a personal statement or an essay. And by the way, we all face writer's block. All of us. I don't care if you're a high school student trying to write a fantastic scholarship essay, or an award-winning poet trying to write and complete the next book that you're working on. We all face writer's block. And there are some things that you can do to help with that. And part of that is just creating a schedule. Finding a time of day that's the most effective for you as a writer. And that's different for all of us. So for some of us, that's morning. For some of us, that's afternoon, right after school. For some of us, that's the evening. Find that time where you feel the most creative and just sit and try and write then and see what happens. And sometimes that means waiting. And while you're waiting for the muse to come, for the inspiration to come, feel free to pick up something and read it for a few minutes and then write. And sometimes it's nice to just sit and reflect and think. And then there are other things we can do to help us with writing when it comes to the scholarship essay, and that's just brainstorming. Create a list of ideas, of themes. Who are the 5 most important people in your life that have impacted you as a person and a scholar? Write that list down, and then out to the side of them, write a memory for each one of them that helped shape you into the person you are. You might find that you have 5 essays right there just waiting to be written. Another thing that I do sometimes to help ward off and fight off writer's block is to find a new place to write. So I'll go to a different room or maybe even go outside. Fantastic question we just got. How many drafts should a student have? That's a fantastic question to ask. And by the way, young scholars, the real work when it comes to scholarship essay writing comes in the world of revision. That means we write the essay, but we're not done. We have to go back to the essay, to a second draft, maybe even a third draft. Dare I say it? Dare, a fourth draft. And that's okay. That doesn't mean you're doubting yourself. That means you're putting in the work of revision to make the essay stronger. I tell every student when it comes to finishing the essay, the most important thing is proofread, proofread, and proofread. Why do I say it 3 times? Because yes, you want to grammar check and spell check with your computer's brain, but you also want to proofread it yourself with your own eyes and your own brain, because there are some mistakes that a computer can't catch. You see what I mean? Sometimes you're smarter than the computer. The second time is a peer, a fellow student, a friend, reading your essay and saying, hey, what if you switch this to that? And what if you move this up there? What if you scratch that one sentence out because it doesn't really help this paragraph? This isn't another student rewriting your essay. It's just them offering some ideas. And then that third proofread that I say is for the mentor, for the teacher, for the facilitator, for the adult in your life that you trust as a writer, as a thinker, as a mentor, and let them get a look at it and offer you some feedback. I know that some of the most successful scholarship essays out in the world, I've talked with young people who've won scholarships, they have all said to me the same thing. It's never a first draft. It's always a second draft, or a third, or a fourth. So keep that in mind. The real work comes in revision. And don't give up. Don't get frustrated. You know, even some of the most seasoned writers get frustrated when it comes to setting a task, a goal, a writing goal ahead of you, and then setting down to do the actual work of it. We all get frustrated. That's okay. But every day you work a little harder, and every day you fight a little more, and every day you write a little more, and before you know it, the first draft of that essay is crafted, drafted, and now the real work begins to go back and revise and make it perfect. Now, I do want to let you all know that we've got a special event coming up. We're gonna have this exclusive webinar workshop. It's gonna be like twice the length of what we just had tonight, where we're talking about the scholarship essay, and I'm gonna give some techniques and strategies to make your essay as powerful as possible, because we want you winning that scholarship money, and we would love for you to be there. And ColeSpeak is making this all possible. And the admission ticket is simply to just buy a book. If you buy one copy of the book, Dollars for Scholars, you know what? You've just entered into an exclusive workshop for facilitators, for teachers, but most importantly, for students. So keep that in mind. If you're thinking about buying a book tonight or tomorrow or next week or whenever, that workshop, I'm certain it's going to be really extraordinary. I would love for you to be a part of it. My name is Joaquin. It's been an honor to be here with you live from my writing office, and I've actually got some writing to do this evening, so I better get to it. Again, thank you for believing in Dollars for Scholars. Thank you for believing in my work, and know that I believe in all of you. Thank you all so much.